Production support for Hot and Cold is brought to you by American Solar Technics, manufacturers of components for wood burning and solar heating systems. Hey, I'm Tom Gozy. This week on Hot and Cold, we got doors to put on the kitchen cabinets. Just a few. There's a couple left to do, and we saved them just for you so we could spend special time together putting doors on and making them look right. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, we have got Mills Pride cabinets. We did the cabinets, finished putting the cabinets in last week, or 2 weeks ago. I don't know, it was a while, it was not this week, okay? And now we're going to put in the doors and the drawer fronts. And there's not much to them. Remember, we opened the other one up. That's what we got. We got a drawer front. We're going to do this base cabinet. And we've got a door. And they're pretty easy to put in. The hardware package has these European hinges, and we take the European hinges, they have this roundish hole there, we insert them like so. I just want to tell you, this is very simple. And simple is a good thing when I'm doing it. We have little screws. The holes are already started, there's no drills involved. And we do this. So fast and so simple. You are going to be wowed. So we just screw these in. I could do this with a drill, but I like the fine motor control you have with the human hand for this kind of application. Plus the screwing is very easy on this because it's a MDF door. MDF is medium density fiberboard, and it is a very high performance material many people use for signs and many other things. Now, there are a couple other things we need to put on the door. This door is going on this side, which means we have an extra hole here. We're going to put a little white cap in there. Okay. And we have the little door bumpers. I'm going to put them on while I'm at it because I know exactly where they have to go, and which is right here. This is where the door impacts on the frame. And you know what? I put that little white cap in the wrong hole, but that's because I'm just basically a stupid person. So we'll deal with that in a moment. We just pop that right out. Now, we've got these hinges, and that's how they go. They swing like hinges. I've got the other door all prepped here. I'm going to put that over here. We're actually going to put that door in too. Now, putting in hinged cabinet doors can be a real pain in the neck. You remember here last week or whenever we did it, we put the cabinet together and we have the screws that hold the cabinets together. And these holes, these screws here line up. Now these aren't just regular screws, these are cam type screws. So what we do is this. We actually insert them like so. Okay? Screwdriver again. I go a half turn there, a half turn there, half turn there, and half turn there. That's done, pal. Doesn't get any easier than that. Okay, while we're at it, let's mount the other door. Same deal. I'm just going to set that in. I'm going to do these half turns again. And this is in the directions. I mean, you can read the directions and they'll tell you how to do it too. I'm just showing you, excuse me, because I have read the directions. All right. let us close the doors. And what do we have? We have something that doesn't actually look too bad. If you look at it from the front, the elevation where these two come together is even. The crack, though, is kind of big. Look at the door up there. Now, when I started doing these, that door was like this, had a big gap in the middle. We don't want that big gap. Why, that doesn't look right, does it? Actually, it does, but we can close that up. And it's very easy to do. We open the door again, and there are adjustments for these hinges. Now, if we needed to get the hinge up or down, we loosen these screws we just tightened, and we can lift the whole door up because that's in a slot, so we can slide it up and down. But what I'm going to do, see this screw right here? I'm going to turn this out toward, wrong way, in towards the cabinet, and you see what's happening is it's pushing this whole assembly in. It's just a big cam. Let's just close it for kicks and see what happened to the gap. The gap got a little bit smaller. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm going to do the top and the bottom. And let's see what happens now. Ooh, the gap's getting even smaller. Looks like I got a little more play on this side here. Why don't we get a shot from the top here? You can see what's actually going on with that hinge when I turn it. See how it comes in? Okay. Do the same thing down here. Comes in a little more. Let's close the door again. We're almost there. The bottom is a little bit wider, so I'm just going to give that another half turn or so. Oh, too close. Thomas, I get carried away. I can't help it. That's about what we got up there. Again, how easy is that? That is really fast stuff. We have just fine-tuned cabinet doors in a matter of minutes. We didn't have to drill any holes. We didn't have to change hardware. We didn't have to do anything special. These are called 6-point adjusting European hinges. That's what they do. They adjust in all different ways. Now, we've got to do drawer fronts. Do we have time for that? Probably not. We ought to take a break. So let's take a break. We're going to look a little bit at what we're doing with drawer fronts. Not a complicated thing to do. Stay with us. We're back, and we're going to finish up this cabinet in record time. We're going to put on the drawer fronts. The drawer fronts are very simple. There's two holes here, one here and one here, which is what these mounting screws go into. But you see there are 3 other holes, and these are pre-drilled for handles, for hardware. We do not have any hardware for these cabinets yet, so I'm just going to show you how to mount these. When you do drill for the hardware, we'll show you this. You always drill from this side out, and you always put this up against a piece of scrap wood so it doesn't kind of bust out when you're drilling through. But we'll show you that when we do it. In the meantime, inside the drawer here, we have 4 holes which coordinate with these holes here. Now, remember last week when we put the drawers together, you know, these fronts go in like so. They just lock in like that. Well, you know, if you push it like that, that's going to come apart. When you put the drawer front on, that also functions as a lock to keep the cabinet, or keep the drawer front in place. So I'm going to just get these lined up by hand. Now you notice that screw is relatively skinny, but the hole it goes through is rather large. And the reason for that is, this is a place where I could use a cordless drill. Just, there we go. So I could do a TV show and talk at the same. I can't talk and turn a screw at the same time. You notice that? It gives you some adjustment room, having that bigger hole. We're just going to put those in nice, rough, and easy. And we're going to see where we're at. I'm paying no attention to any detail other than getting the screws screwed in place. And let's watch Gosi turn a screw into a piece of wood. See if he can do it. Yep. There we go. And we just turn that one, and you can see I'm off here already. That's okay. The drunken sailor look is what we're going for. Okay, so these are all off. So what we're going to do is loosen this up here and just push that over that way a little bit. This one is actually not off too bad, so we're just tighten that up, snug that up. And this one we're going to loosen. We'll do the same thing. We're just going to push it in, even up to the top. This edge seems to be a little bit. Thomas, I'm making all the easy stuff look hard and all the hard stuff look easy. How about that? There we go. All right, let's see how that is. There. Done. We're going to take those off again and put some hardware on them when we get the hardware. That's something we need to pick up. But basically, we've got to do these doors here. Let me just show you these. One thing you want to be a little careful of when you're opening these cabinets up, the doors in particular, is, you know, if you have a razor knife, a box opener knife, you certainly don't want to penetrate the box. And, you know, the cabinet, the door we just opened, the finished face was down. This one, this is the big door. Also, that face is down, but you don't want to have a score line from a knife in there. So we do the same routine on these. So you just want to be careful just to lift up a little bit and very gently cut into the tape when you're opening up the box, because we don't want to have a problem with that. But that's all. We're going to do those couple here. Oh, one other thing I did want to show you. What did I do with my hardware? Put this over here. In finishing up cabinets, put that over there for a minute. We do have in this base 24 cabinet, it comes with a shelf. And of course we've got shelf hardware, which are just little clips that insert into the holes in the back here. And I tell you what we could do. We can do this. We have the technology. We can take that drawer right out. I should have done this before I put the drawer in. We could just insert the clips here, and am I in the right place? I think so. You can actually have the drawer, the shelf to the front too. There's a place here, but it would probably be more in the way. There wouldn't be much room there unless you're doing something special. Set the drawer in, the shelf in now. Get the screwdriver out of the drawer. Put the drawer back in again. And it's ready to go. We can store stuff in there and everything. So the only thing I have to do now is drop a couple of doors in, which will take me no time. Then we're going to start to do the countertop, which will probably start next week. We still have to deal with soffits, and maybe I'll tell you what we'll do. Maybe we'll get started on the soffits. We're going to get started on something. Maybe I'm going to just take a quick break here and figure out what we're going to do next. It's either soffits or countertop. I'm not sure which we should do first. I'll have to talk to somebody about this. Maybe I get counseling. I don't know. Hey, we're back. And through the magic of television, I got a shirt on and my hair got shorter. How did that happen? I don't know. Well, we've got all the doors now on everything except for the drawer fronts, because I've ordered some hardware for the doors, so we'll do that some other time just as a filler thing. Just because. But I've done a couple of things that are interesting. Ignore the countertop for the moment. Don't look at that. Look up here instead at the soffits. I closed them in. And I closed them in very easily. I chewed on it for a couple of days after we got done with the cabinets. And what we did was this. We only had about 6.5 to 7.25 inches to fill. And I could have just got 2 pieces of wood and done something like this. And we wanted a wood look to tie in with the ceiling. I could have done something like that and stuck that up there, but boy, doesn't that look plain. I mean, the knots are kind of cool and the wood is kind of nice, but that leaves me feeling kind of dry, like something's been left out. So I did this part though, and you can see here, if I open the cabinet, we have lighthouses in our cabinets here. You can just see the edge of the pine there. And then what I did, see the edge? I'm closing the door now. I took this trim. This is actually usually used as window trim. It's called Windsor, And I put a piece here like that, and that's exactly what you see when I open the door. You see this bottom edge here in the Windsor. And then I put a second piece of Windsor, but I stepped it out. And the way I stepped it out was by putting a piece of 1-inch pine behind, on top of the first piece of Windsor, and I put the second piece. Now you have to ignore that part because that got cut off. But essentially what we did is, trying to do this, is this kind of a deal, where we stepped it. And if you look up here now, I'm going to drop that if I don't do it right. We have two pieces. There's a little bit of a gap in between here where there's a piece of wood showing because, of course, where I built the ceiling, it's not quite level. Over there it is. Over here it isn't. So there's a little bit of a gap here because the other issue is these are 3 or 3 1/4. So we had to bump it up a little bit. So I decided that, and you can see it over here even better. If I slide my little stool over, we have, actually there's no gap there. That's right, because this was 6 1/2. It's 3 1/4 times 2 is 6 1/2. Math lesson for today, boys and girls. So that's done. That went really fast. It was very easy. And where I had the pine backer over here, because this part was kind of going uphill that way, that filled in. And unless I tell it to you, which I just did to everybody out there in TV land, you would never pick it up. Nobody, believe me, who has come in here has picked up on the fact that the ceiling kind of goes like that. Of course, now anybody who sees the show will come in and look at it. If they come in and look at it, say, hey, you know, the ceiling goes like that, goes it. While I was at it, you know, I like big pine trim. While I was at it, I took the top piece here and continued it around a ceiling trim and tied right back into here. And then over here too, we did the same thing over on to close in our stair deal. So we got kind of a nice traditional look. And the Windsor was about $1 a running foot. But man, that's nice looking stuff. I'm going to show you the end profile, just so you get an idea. Okay? And at $1 a foot, I mean, that's not a lot of money for that kind of trim. I got that at Paul Bunyan Lumber, your free plug for this week. And it's easy to work with. I don't think I even messed up any pieces. Now, one thing I want to show you, where did I put it? Nowhere. When you do inside corners, like over here, well, these here, usually these are mitered together here. And when you do mitered corners, many times, those we measured exactly because it's a weird angle. But a lot of times when you're doing a right angle like this corner here, rather than miter two pieces together and cut 45 degrees, out of each one, I put a full piece from there over to there, and then the piece that comes into it here got mitered back, and then we remove the wood from the miter, and it just kind of overlaps. It comes right in and actually fits right over this. And it's fairly tight. If you look at it from down here, you can see, if you come in right from this angle, I'm going to show you the major faux pas there. See that gap? Well, that's my coping saw job there is not fantastic. But I'll fill that with some caulk, and you'll notice I have two kinds of caulk here. I've got the lovely almond color, and then I have something called wood tone, which is a little bit darker than the almond. The almond is actually the color of this nozzle here, and the wood tone, depending on what color pine I have, I think I'll go with almond in that corner, even though it may be a little bit light. So that's easy, and we'll continue to do this, and you'll see me actually doing some fill. I don't think we've shown any caulking lately where we've filled stuff in, so we'll show you that. One other place, the place I got the Windsor for was right here underneath that window. That's what I actually brought it in for initially, as just that little piece that goes underneath the window. And I said, you know, that'd make a nice soffit, and I know I can get it and we'd be in great shape. If I move this out of the way and I point over here now, you notice something a little bit different. We'll take this, we'll clean this up for, in a week or 2 or 3, we're going to be starting on the kitchen counter. And what I've been doing is laying out just to see how things go. When I did the bathroom vanity, which was a 4-foot wide bathroom vanity, I bought a single sheet of 4x8 3/4-inch particle board, and I cut out the bathroom vanity piece, which was kind of like this piece here, and it was almost enough. Well, it was enough for there, and I had enough left over to just about fit what we have to do here. I have one little piece over here that we have to piece together, and we'll probably join this with biscuits or with something, but we got two little pieces we're just going to fit in, and that'll go like that. And then we're still what's hold up here that there's not a sink here as of this moment, is I'm looking for some kind of specific stainless steel sink, and I'm not sure what I'm putting here yet. It's either stainless steel or white, because we had a white sink upstairs with the countertop. Debating whether we're going to do that or not. Probably we're going to use stainless, but we're getting ready. Are you picking up the vibrations? It won't be long, and we're going to do the whole show on doing the countertop. So that's coming very quickly. We now can define also the backsplash area, which will all be granite as well, and we'll do that and show you how that goes, and we're going to do it slightly different than normal people do it, so you'll get to see how that comes out. The one thing that gets real critical when you're planning these kind of things is whether it's up here, we have to make sure that there's nothing overhanging to impact on the doors, because if that molding came down a little too far, it would hit the door, and of course it would rub, and that wouldn't be good. Same thing down here. When we get to our drawers and our countertop, that countertop, that 3/4-inch particle board is right there, Mr. Man. So we have to make sure that when we put the trim piece on for the countertop, it's flush with the bottom here. It doesn't go any further down. I can't be sloppy. If I do this, if I do it like that, uh-oh, it hits. And that ain't gonna work. So this is a critical dimension. These pieces, this is just a piece of scrap I happen to bring over, has to be exact. And I think what we're going to do here is, believe it or not, we're going to actually apply this edging first, and then we'll come out over, and two reasons for that. We'll apply the edging first, and that'll be siliconed in place, so we'll hold it in place. And then we'll bring our countertop over the top edge. And the reason for that is, one, we want to make sure that everything fits right. It's much easier to deal with this by putting this on first. But the other thing is, when I did the bathroom, which was the first one I ever did, I messed up because I had a piece and I was measuring where to bring everything out to, and I messed up and I actually was back a little bit like this. You may have noticed if you're really sharp watching television. And we want these to be flush. It maybe not even come out a little bit further, just for a good shadow line. So these are critical things that I'm picking up on as we're designing this thing, using different components that are normally used for countertops. Anyway, so we're planning this as we speak. We've got the right amount of overhang here, which is also a critical factor, and we'll talk more about that when the time comes. We're out of time this week. We got the cabinets all done. I love the things. They are just they're all adjusted. We just got to put knobs on them. We'll see you next week. I can't believe, where did the time go? It's too quick. I wish we had more time we could spend together, but I got to go. See you next week. Production support for Hot and Cold is brought to you by American Solar Technics, manufacturers of components for wood burning and solar heating systems.